Hey there, family! Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is something life-changing, and I don't say that lightly. If you feel stuck financially, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, or even if you dream of becoming a millionaire in 2025 but don't know where to start, this video is for you. The Bible is not just a book for spiritual growth, it's a guide to building wisdom, wealth, and legacy. Today, I'm sharing 5 powerful Bible verses and the principles behind them that, if applied, can turn your financial life around.
All right, so today we're diving into something a little different.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's about using biblical principles to build wealth.
Interesting.
Yeah, so our source material is, it's actually called Biblical Principles of Wealth Creation.
Okay.
And it claims to lay out 5 key verses and turn them into like practical takeaways,
Yeah.
for modern life.
Hmm.
I'm curious to see how these ancient ideas hold up in our world.
Right.
Yeah?
Right. Yeah, especially our modern financial world.
Yeah, exactly.
It is interesting to think about, how wisdom from thousands of years ago
Right.
could still be relevant.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I think are looking for ways to improve their financial lives.
Yeah.
And this, offers a unique perspective on how we could do that.
The first principle really jumped out at me.
Okay.
It's from Proverbs 21.5.
Okay.
The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty.
Hmm.
So it's not about like wishing for riches or anything.
Right,
It's
yeah.
about being strategic and putting in the work, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's about, being proactive rather than reactive.
Mhm.
And so, if you think about how that applies to like modern personal finance,
Right.
setting goals, budgeting,
Yeah.
using tools to track, your income and expenses.
Uh-huh.
These are all, expressions of this principle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just about the actions themselves, it's also about the mindset.
Yeah. So instead of saying like, I wish I had more money,
Yeah,
you're saying, okay, what steps can I take to start building like a solid foundation?
right.
It's like the source uses an example of these two people.
Okay.
One person dreams of wealth, but never actually plans.
Right.
The other person actually takes action and starts doing things.
Mhm.
It seems kind of obvious who's going to end up better off.
Yeah.
But you know how many of us are actually that second person?
That's a great point. I think it's easy to get caught up in those like day-to-day expenses.
Right.
And then we lose sight of the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
But this principle encourages us to think long-term.
Yeah.
And it's not, just about accumulating wealth just for wealth's sake.
Right.
It's about creating like a life of abundance and security for ourselves and our families.
It really challenges that get-rich-quick mentality that I feel like is so prevalent.
Yeah.
You know, that lottery ticket dream?
Right.
Thinking the next hot stock tip is going to make you a millionaire?
Yeah. Or, cryptocurrency.
Yeah, exactly right.
And this verse from Proverbs, it emphasizes the opposite.
Mm.
It's that steady, consistent effort.
Yeah.
It's about making those wise choices today that'll pay off later down the road.
Okay. So principle number 1 is about planning and diligence.
Okay.
The next one seems a little trickier to me, at least.
All right.
It's from Deuteronomy 8.18.
Okay.
It says, but remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth. So how does this idea of like God-given abilities
Right.
fit into a practical approach to building wealth?
Yeah, that's a question that's, kind of resonated for centuries. On the surface, it might seem like, it's saying wealth comes directly from God with no effort.
Right.
But there's a deeper layer here, I think.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's about recognizing that each of us has unique talents and skills, what the verse calls, the ability to produce wealth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about sitting back and waiting for a blessing.
Right.
It's about taking those God-given abilities and putting them to work.
So it's like God provides the raw materials,
Yeah.
but it's up to us to build something with them.
Exactly. Think about the example the source uses.
Okay.
The farmer.
Mm-hmm.
So God provides the sun, the rain, the seeds,
The potential.
the potential.
Yeah.
Right. But it's the farmer who has to plant, water, and tend those crops.
Right.
So it's like a partnership, a collaboration between the divine and human effort.
I see what you mean. It's not about expecting a miracle.
Right.
It's about using what you've been given to create something of value.
And that's where the connection to modern entrepreneurship, I think, becomes really interesting because everyone has, skills and passions,
Yeah.
but it's about identifying those and finding ways to monetize them. Maybe you're, a talented writer, artist, or programmer.
Right.
Maybe you have a knack for business, or you're passionate about teaching.
Yeah.
The key is to see those abilities not just as hobbies, but as potential sources of income.
That resonates with me.
Yeah.
It's about taking ownership of your talents
Yep.
and finding ways to turn them into something that benefits you,
Mm-hmm.
but also adds value to the world.
It's about finding your unique contribution and making the most of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's an idea that goes beyond just financial wealth.
Right.
It's about creating a life that's both fulfilling and prosperous.
Okay, so we've talked about diligence and planning and, using our God-given abilities.
Right.
What's the next principle in this whole wealth building equation?
So the next principle kind of builds upon the first two.
Okay.
It's about stewardship, and it's rooted in Luke 14:28, which says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it?
Okay, so this is about managing your resources wisely,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Before you even start any big project,
Mm-hmm.
you need to have a clear understanding of what it's going to take.
Precisely. And it applies to your financial life, too. You can't build a secure financial future without first understanding, your current situation
Yeah.
and planning accordingly.
Right.
And the source uses a great example.
So-
Someone who makes, a decent income, but has no idea where their money goes each month.
Right.
This is where the concept of budgeting becomes crucial.
It's like that feeling when you look at your bank account and you're like, where did it all go?
Right.
Budgeting seems so simple, but it's something that so many people struggle with.
It's easy to dismiss it, as like restrictive or unnecessary,
Yeah.
especially if you feel like you're doing okay financially.
Right.
But it's not about deprivation. It's about empowerment.
Yeah, it's about taking control of your finances
Right.
and making conscious choices about where your money goes.
So it's not just about like tracking your spending. It's about aligning your spending with your goals.
Exactly. It's about making sure that your money is working for you, not against you.
Uh-huh.
And this principle of stewardship applies to more than just money. It's about being responsible with all the resources that we've been given.
Right.
Time, energy, talents, relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's about making the most of what we have to create, a life of abundance and purpose.
So we've got diligence and action.
Yeah.
We've got stewardship,
Mm-hmm.
all building on this idea of using our God-given abilities.
Right.
What's next on our list?
Now we get to a principle that's not just supported by religious texts, but also by, seasoned investors
Okay.
in the secular world.
Interesting.
Diversification.
Oh, diversification.
Yeah.
That's a word I hear thrown around a lot. But I'm not sure I fully grasp the concept.
What does it actually mean?
Well, it's rooted in the idea of spreading your risk.
Okay.
And this is perfectly captured in Ecclesiastes 11.2,
Okay.
which says, invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. So it's like that classic, don't put all your eggs in one basket analogy.
So it's about not relying on like a single source of income or investment.
Exactly. And the source uses the example of someone losing their job or like a business drying up unexpectedly.
Right.
Diversification acts as a safety net.
Okay.
So if one income stream, falters,
Yeah.
the others can cushion the blow.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like building multiple pillars to support a roof.
Okay.
If one weakens, the others are still there to hold it up.
I'm starting to see how powerful this could be,
Yeah.
especially in today's world where job security is volatile and markets fluctuate like crazy.
Right. Diversification seems more crucial than ever.
Yeah.
It's about creating a more resilient foundation. So instead of putting all your faith in one company or one industry or even one type of investment,
Right.
you spread your risk across multiple areas.
Okay.
This way, if one area takes a hit, your overall financial well-being is less impacted.
This is making me think back to what we talked about earlier about using your God-given abilities.
Right.
It seems like diversification could apply there too.
Absolutely. It's not just about diversifying your income streams, but also your skills and knowledge.
Okay.
Maybe you're a great writer, but you also have a passion for web design.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're a skilled accountant, but you also have a talent for teaching.
Yeah.
Developing multiple skills not only makes you more adaptable, in a changing job market,
Right.
but it also opens up new opportunities and possibilities.
This is making me think about how much emphasis is put on, specializing in one specific area.
Mm-hmm.
You have to choose one career path and stick with it for life.
Right.
Maybe that's not always the best approach.
That's a really interesting thought. I mean, in a world that, constantly throws curveballs our way,
Right.
having a diverse skill set can be a huge advantage.
Yeah.
It's about being adaptable, resourceful, and ready to embrace new challenges.
Okay, so diversification is about spreading your risk, both financially and in terms of your skills and knowledge.
Yes.
This is all starting to connect in a really interesting way.
Yeah.
What's the final principle we're going to unpack today?
It's a principle that shifts our focus from the present to the future.
Okay.
The concept of generational wealth. It's about building something that lasts,
Right.
something that can benefit not just us, but our children, grandchildren, and even beyond.
That's a pretty big concept to wrap our heads around.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear how this one fits into the overall picture.
It's about moving from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance. It's about seeing wealth as a tool for creating positive change that extends beyond our own lifespan.
Wow.
Think of it like planting a tree whose shade you might not live to enjoy, but future generations will benefit from.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
It really captures the long-term vision behind this whole principle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a powerful shift in perspective.
Right.
Instead of thinking, how much can I accumulate for myself?
Right.
It becomes, how can I use what I have to create a lasting positive impact?
It almost sounds like we're talking about more than just money at this point.
You're right. It is about more than just handing down a fat bank account.
Right.
The source material really emphasizes this idea of, passing down knowledge and values along with those financial resources.
Okay.
It's about, teaching financial literacy to the next generation,
Right.
showing them how to manage money responsibly and make it work for them.
It reminds me of that saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime.
Right.
But in this case, it's about teaching future generations to not just be recipients of wealth,
Yeah.
but creators of it.
Exactly. It's about empowering them to build on the foundation that's been laid for them and to create even more abundance for themselves and those who come after them.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory,
Yeah.
but I'm sure some of our listeners are thinking, this is all well and good, but how do I actually start building generational wealth?
Right.
Especially if I'm not exactly rolling in dough right now.
That's a great question, and it's one that the source material actually addresses.
Okay.
It might seem daunting, but the key is to start small and be consistent. Even setting aside a small amount each month into a dedicated account for your children or future generations can make a huge difference over time.
It's like that snowball effect, right?
Exactly.
It starts small,
Yeah.
but as it rolls along, it gathers more and more snow, becoming bigger and more powerful.
The magic of compound interest is on your side here.
Right.
The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow. Even if you can only contribute a small amount right now.
Yeah.
The key is to develop that habit of saving and investing for the future.
So it's not about making some grand sweeping gesture.
Right.
It's about those small, consistent actions, those little choices we make day after day
Yeah.
that add up to something significant over time.
And remember, building generational wealth isn't just about money.
Okay.
It's also about investing in your children's education, their health and well-being.
Right.
It's about providing them with the tools and resources they need to thrive. It's about creating a legacy that encompasses not just financial security, but also values, skills, and opportunities.
I'm thinking back to what we discussed earlier about using your God-given abilities. It seems like providing those opportunities for future generations to discover and develop their talents
Right.
is a huge part of this whole generational wealth equation.
It absolutely is. It's about creating a ripple effect of positive change
Right.
that extends far beyond our own lives.
Yeah.
It's about empowering future generations to not just inherit wealth, but to create it themselves.
To build on the foundation that we've laid for them.
Yeah.
And to make the world a better place because they were here.
That's a powerful thought. I'm starting to see how these biblical principles can be applied, not just to our own financial lives, but to the way we think about our families, our communities, and the world around us.
Right.
It's about leaving a lasting legacy that goes far beyond just dollars and cents.
And it's something that each of us can start building today, no matter where we are on our financial journey.
Right.
It's about taking those small, consistent steps, making those wise choices,
Yeah.
and trusting that our efforts will create a ripple effect of positive change
Right.
that will benefit generations to come.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive, I want to pose a question to our listeners.
Okay.
What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Think about it. Will it be one of scarcity or abundance? One of short-sightedness or long-term vision?
A legacy focused solely on yourself, or one that extends outward to touch the lives of others?
Right.
The choice is us.
And remember, building a legacy is not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's a journey that requires patience, perseverance, and a deep commitment to the well-being of future generations.
But it's a journey that begins with a single step.
Right.
So what step will you take today?
Yeah. It really is a profound question. What mark do we want to leave on the world?
Right.
What will people remember us for?
Yeah. And this whole idea of legacy building doesn't have to be about, some grand earth-shattering achievement.
You're absolutely right.
Our source material, focused on financial wealth. But this concept of legacy can be applied to so many other areas of life.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. What are some other types of legacies we could focus on building?
Well, one that comes to mind is, the legacy of knowledge.
Okay.
We all have experiences, skills, insights that we can share with others. It could be through formal mentorship or teaching, or even just, everyday conversations where we pass on wisdom and guidance.
It's like that idea of each one teach one.
Exactly.
We all have something valuable to offer.
Right.
Sharing that knowledge can have a ripple effect, impacting countless lives in ways we may never fully comprehend.
Exactly. And think about, the legacy of values, the principles and beliefs that guide our actions, that shape our character, that influence how we interact with the world.
Yeah.
These are things that we pass down through our example, through the way we treat others, through the choices we make every single day.
It's about living the world a little bit better than we found it.
Right.
Maybe it's through acts of kindness or advocating for a cause we believe in, or simply striving to be a good person in all our interactions.
I like that.
These seemingly small actions can have a lasting impact, shaping the lives of those around us and contributing to a more positive and compassionate world.
And that brings us to a point, I think, that really ties this whole conversation together.
Okay.
It's this idea that, building a legacy isn't about grand gestures or extraordinary feats. It's about those small, consistent actions that we take each day. The choices we make, the relationships we nurture, and the contributions we make to our communities. It's about living a life of purpose and meaning. And leaving behind a world that's a little brighter because we were here.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to encourage you, our listener, to reflect on your own unique gifts and talents. What seeds of legacy are you planting today? What kind of impact do you want to make on the world around you?
Remember, it's never too late to start building your legacy. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every moment of shared wisdom. These are all building blocks in the legacy you leave behind.
And as we've explored today, it doesn't have to be about wealth in the traditional sense. It's about using what we have. Our time, our talents, our resources to create a positive and lasting impact on the world.
So go out there and be the architects of your own legacies. The world is waiting to see what you create.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into biblical principles for wealth creation. We hope this exploration has sparked some new ideas. And inspired you to think about legacy building in a whole new light.
Definitely.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a difference.
If this video blessed you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below with which verse spoke to you the most. And let's take action together to become the millionaires God created us to be in 2025. Remember, faith without works is dead. So go out there, make a plan, trust God, and start building wealth His way. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.